Okay, so this is going to be a very impactful video. I can just feel the anointing inside of this. And this generation is wicked. This generation is so confused. It's so misled. And even myself, I have been deceived by male role models. And that's because this system, this world is filled with so many lies and deception. Especially when it comes to male role models, each and every single one is trying to feminize men. So us as men, innately inside of our spirits, when we hear a sliver of the truth, we can take on that person's full behavior, even if there's a lot of toxic traits, because the truth has been suppressed. So when we hear a sliver of it, when it's coming from Andrew Tate or David Goggins, we will adapt and take on the full personality to where it's more toxic than good, because the full truth has really been suppressed. And we're all looking for that truth, that freedom, that thing that can set us free because it worked for that man. But what worked for that man isn't going to work for you. And if everybody adopts a David Goggins mindset, an Andrew Tate mindset, it turns into a wicked world. The one piece of truth you should be adopting to and following is the principles and the morals set by God. Not the morals and principles set by a mortal man who was created in the image of God. No, not that. That's only the half truth. And when it comes to men, their masculinity is under attack. And it makes sense, because in this system, they want complete control. They want to take the spine out of the man. They want the man to be submissive, because it's dangerous to have an independent man, a man with a warrior spirit, a man who fights for what he believes in, and a man who's willing to die for that cause. Do you think this system really wants those types of men? God-led men who only fear God, who have faith in God? Do you think they want those types of men? No, they're trying to strip the spirit out of men. And I understand when it comes to the female side, they also are kind of attacking masculinity, and they don't want men to have power because it has been misused. There's a lot of bad men. There's a lot of wicked men. There's elites that are wicked, that are spineless, that are corrupt. And a man without God is corrupt. You see it time and time again. Man idolizes money. Man idolizes so many things besides God. And when you idolize these things, when you put money above God, when you put the grind above God, or you put anything above God, and you become a hyper competitive man, you become wicked. You become disgusting as a man. As men, we need to be focused on impact and not just chasing, not just attaining, not just, yes, we should provide, but that shouldn't be our main focus. As men, we need to focus on the impact in our surrounding world, how we treat people. What I believe to be a true man is a man who chooses to do good, a man who stands up for what is right in this wicked world. Although he may be scarred, although people may mistreat him or do wicked things against him, he still chooses to do good. He still chooses to lift up his people and to move with the light. That is a true man. And that is something that cannot be accomplished without God, because God lifts you up with his mighty hand. God gives you that strength. God gives you the morals. God gives you the backbone. God gives you the principles to act like that in this wicked world, to have morals, to have principles. And us as men, without God, we will become corrupt. We will abuse our power. We will become hyper competitive. And these guys like Andrew Tate, Hamza, these people who teach you to attain, to become extremely disciplined, are creating soulless men. And a lot of people don't look that far, but I do. I went down the David Goggins route of F everybody, it's only about me, it's only about myself, and I put myself above everybody. I'm taking souls, I'm doing all these wicked things. And it just leads to corruption. Like, what's the difference between you and the people we despise at the top, the elites, the people who are destroying the souls of this country? What's the difference between those men and you if you're following in suit? But then those men who are saying, let's take souls, let's crush the fellow man to rise up in power. Like, this is what a lot of men are being taught. And I've been led down this path as well of crush your fellow man, be hyper competitive. And that is so dangerous. dangerous, because the more you tap into that spirit, the more you bring towards yourself and accumulate, the more you shove your kids to the side, the more you step on your family, disrespect your family, disrespect the people around you, the more you kick down your fellow man to rise up yourself. And it just becomes a disgusting world where everybody is kicking people down to rise up. And what kind of baseline is that? Where are the morals? Like, it just becomes wicked, it becomes disgusting, and that's where our generation is at. They constantly want to attack, they constantly want to kick down, and that's how they rise up to power. They believe that is how you become successful in this world, by destroying other people's spirits, by hurting people who are already hurt. That's how you become successful. That's what our male role models are teaching us. And it's just completely wrong, because there's a lot of men who are misled. There's a lot of men who are hurting. There's a lot of females who are hurting. And your duty as a man, if you are bettering yourself, you're becoming more self-disciplined, you feel better about yourself, you're on the right track, you have a duty to your community, to your family. You should be rising up the people so they can feel what you feel, so they can feel good about life like you feel good about life. We're not always going to feel good about life, but if you are rising up, you need to be humble, you need to be meek. And I'm not saying weak, because a lot of people think there's weakness in that. No, there's strength in that. When you take the wicked path, pride leads to a halty fall. Pride leads to destruction. Trust me, you reap what you sow. If you go out in this world and you're constantly pushing another man to rise up, talking badly about people, doing all the wrong things, there's a trade-off. You destroy to get ahead, you will be destroyed in the end. You reap what you sow. It's the wheel that follows the ox. And as men, we need to be focused on impact. As you rise up in your frame, you should be helping other people rise up, because all of us, we all want to be the fullest versions of ourselves. I want to be the greatest version of myself, and you're probably suffering because you want that for yourself as well. So for me to rise up but to kick you down, or vice versa, is not the way any man should go about life. Because how do you feel when people kick you down to rise up? You know, I do believe toxic masculinity exists, and what I believe it is misdirected power. A man who's corrupt, a man who's selfish, a man who has no morals, a man who is living for himself and doesn't really care about anybody else. That's what I call toxic masculinity. It's the guy in the gym who huffs and puffs and screams and throws his weight and pushes his fellow man down to rise up and make himself feel good. That is toxic masculinity. Proper masculinity is a man with power, a man with a backbone, but he respects his fellow man. He helps his fellow man achieve that state. He brings the people beside him to the glory that he feels. He helps those people up. He doesn't kick people down. When he sees that somebody has fell, or somebody's suffering, or somebody's hurting, he picks them up. He doesn't step on them so he can rise up and feel good about himself. And that's one thing I noticed at the gym is, I'm not going to be arrogant, but I'm like one of the hardest workers in that gym. And it's because I walk with Christ. I have a clear mind. My mind isn't consumed by so many conflicting thoughts that beat me up. Yeah, there is spiritual warfare, but it's easy for me to work hard and to be in my own zone because I'm not consumed by distractions. I'm not overtaken by a multitude of weak thoughts. I'm with Christ. I'm with strength. It gives me power. So when I'm in the gym, I am just going at it. Like, I'm working extremely hard, and a lot of people expect me to be a D-bag, but they have a sense of relief in their eyes when they realize my goal is to help them out as well. When I'm humble, when I'm meek, it brings out the best in those people because they're used to men, used to women rising up and doing good and kicking them down in the process. But it really changes the atmosphere when you have a man, when you have a woman who is rising up, but he's also rising up his community. Then it's a collective power that is so strong, and it makes me stronger, and it makes them even stronger, and we're working in a flow. As a man, when you become corrupt, you are pinching that flow. You are pinching your strength. You are suffocating yourself, and you're suffocating your people. And as men, I feel like it is mandatory for us to turn to the Bible, because that will teach you how to be a proper man, how to maneuver, how not to become corrupt or lose your morals or become only a man who's about the chase. Like, we're seeing it in real time where this world is heading without morals, without principles. I mean, that's why God says if you are a friend of this world, you are an enemy to God. And it's because this world is so misled. There is an constant attack. There is so much confusion. There is so much misdirection, and it goes against God's word. And people are clinging on to false truths. Men are clinging on to false truths, and it leads to more wickedness, like Andrew Tate. These so-called leaders that we idolize and we look up to for the truth. Yeah, they say some things that help men. They say some things that are correct, but they also kick down so many people in the process. And everybody wants to rise up. Everybody is tired of suffering. Everybody on this planet is hurting. And what's the difference between me and another person? I have a soul. They have a soul. Switch places. If you were that person, you would want to be helped as well. You would probably be tired of people rising up and kicking you down as well. And as men, as women, instead of attaining, chasing, being consumed and idolizing money, praise, attention, all of these things that lead to corruption, all of these things that the people at the top are chasing, you see that they don't give a flip about any of us. Like, this generation will stomp and crush and kill to get to their goal. And it's getting worse and it's getting worse.
That happened, everybody stopped talking, heads will stop dropping, and I start taking fucking souls.
And I feel like the wickedness is progressing even more. And it's going to get so bad. It's going to get really bad. And all the people at the bottom, all of society who despises the top, they're going to be turning into those people. Because that's where their truth is. They believe they're being led in the correct way. And it leads to destruction. Broad is the path to destruction, but narrow is the way to salvation. I don't know if I said that right, but it's true. And I'm telling you, this system is meant to destroy you. This system is meant to control. It's meant to enslave. It does not have your best interest in mind. And all these male role models, all these men we look up to, all they preach is hyper competitiveness. Step on your fellow man. And do you feel good when you kick somebody else down? Like, we all have souls. We're all about community. Like, back in the day, you would have your tribe's best interest in mind. And that DNA is still rooted inside of us. So when you kick down your fellow man to rise up, there's a piece of you that hurts, and you keep going in that direction. Like, we are meant to build up our tribes. We are meant to look after one another. And these men, they teach you to look at things, to chase things that in the end don't matter. Okay, chase the money, chase the attention, chase the valid, chase all of these things. And when you're 70 and your parents pass away and you have no connection with your family, and it's only you, 70 years old, with money, a nice house, a wife who's gonna cheat on you, who's gonna be a burden to live with, is not the way to go. Impact is the way to go. You cannot take a U-Haul truck to the grave. You can't take this money to the grave. That's why us as people, we need to be focused on impact, focusing on our side of the world, doing the best we can. Like, we do live in wicked times. People are corrupt, but also people need saving. People need help. People are looking for that male role model, feminine role model. People are looking for these people that they can turn to who have the truth, who have people's best interests in mind. Like, it is such a relief when you come across somebody who doesn't constantly critique or try to bring you down. It's so rare in these times. It is so rare to come across somebody who wants to pick you up, who wants to help. And I'm not saying sacrifice yourself, because you can't help anybody when you sacrifice yourself. You got to be deeply rooted in your faith. You got to be strong so you can help out others. But as men, you got to be focused on impact, being respectful to your parents, being kind to the people around you, respecting the women around you, just being in your masculine frame and just being a leader, helping out the men around you, not kicking them down. Work hard. Don't be a dank. Don't be an egotistical person like everybody else. Like, have morals, be humble, work hard, and lead, and show the other men how to be. Because I realize from a female standpoint, like, they don't want men in power because men have misused that masculinity multiple times. You know, men do reap corruption if they're not with God. And girls do want to submit, but they're not going to submit to a corrupt, egotistical guy who can't lead, who's all about corruption, who's all about themselves. Like, that's what it is. Girls have submitted to trash men. And that's going to continue to happen because outside of religion, it's a free-for-all. It's getting more wicked. There's no morals. There's no principles. It's just stomp on one man, stomp on a woman to raise up in power. It's all backwards. And the men are being feminized. Like, look at this Ford commercial. finding tough. There's a war on the children. The system wants to raise your children, and God said it's going to be a wicked generation. The children, the kids are the future, and this system wants to raise them. You see how the world is right now, but this next generation that is being raised up in this system, like look at this video of this kid's book that is meant for 10-year-olds. Like everything in this system, LGBTQT is raising your kids. It's an umbrella of no morals, no principles, everything goes, and the label is love. But underneath that, it's a bunch of degenerates with no morals, no principles, soulless, wicked beings who will do whatever. They don't care about kids. They don't care about their family. They don't care about their fellow man. They don't care about nothing. It's lovers of self. They praise themselves. They have replaced God. That's why God said, if you are a friend of this world, you are an enemy of God. This next generation, boy, it's gonna be wicked. And the attack on masculinity is the enslavement of the population. If you have no men with backbone, and honestly, I do believe once the women become too masculine as well, they're gonna find a way to neutralize that. They just want to take the spirits out of the people. They want to take the courage, the boldness. They want to take out the people who stand up for what they believe in, the people who fight justice, and the people who attack these spirits that actually have a backbone, that stand on their own beliefs. They are enslaving themselves. It's ridiculous. The people of this population, they want to attack the people with a message. They want to attack the people with a backbone. But now you take out everybody with a backbone. You take out anybody who stands out, and now everybody's fitting in. And when you fit in, well, they enslaved you. You have no more leaders. You want to kill your own prophets? You want to attack the people who are trying to help you? There's going to come a day where all of you are enslaved and nobody's going to stand up for you, and all of you are going to be looking for that person to come with the truth. But I believe everybody will be too afraid to even bring truth to the people because they're so riddled and controlled inside of their minds to follow this system that is going to lead them to their own demise, their own destruction, and time will tell. I just went to the gym today and I seen like men sitting on the floor, not working out, like they just look defeated in their spirits. But anyways, I understand why women need to be more masculine nowadays. It's because there's a huge feminization on men. There's men who are corrupt. They don't lead in the proper direction. They're not God-fearing. So they don't have a baseline of principles and morals. And girls do want to submit, but like I have two sisters that grew up without dads. So they had to be masculine so they could provide. And if they weren't in their masculine energy and they acted more feminine, they probably would have submitted to the wrong man. And our family wouldn't be doing as good as it is right now. Because my sisters are in their masculine bag. They're in their masculine energy. They went out and they got it for themselves. And that made our family stronger. So I'm not against women being masculine because we're in weird times. Like, we are in weird times. And some, like, women gotta be independent. Women gotta be masculine. They have to get it for themselves. And none of us can put our faith into anybody. We have to trust ourselves. And as for these females, like, they definitely should be independent. Like, women shouldn't be putting their faith into men, especially in these last times where people's emotions, people's minds are riddled with demons. You should not be putting your faith, putting your trust into anything besides yourself. And for these women, I do believe they should be independent. They should be in their masculine energy. And if they want a masculine man who can lead, they should turn to religion, because every man is going to be misled. Every woman is going to be misled in these times coming up. And the only way to get that old traditional strong relationship is through God, because God has the baseline of how a man should act. God has the baseline of how a female should act. When you follow that, you feel fulfilled. It feels natural. And I know a lot of girls, when they see that, they see the Bible and they say, oh my God, submit and respect your husband, all of these things. I feel like every single girl has trust issues, and I don't blame them. Like, even as a man, I do have trust issues as well. But when you have a God-fearing man who respects God, who follows God, who is being the man the Bible says he should be, and when you have a female who's living by the Bible and doing what it says, you can submit to that man because he's gonna love you. He's gonna be providing for you. He's gonna be speaking life into you. It's gonna be a proper relationship because there's no wickedness. Like, it's just navigated properly. And that man, because he fears God, you can trust him. He's not gonna cheat on you. He's not gonna speak ill will on you. He's gonna empower you. He's gonna speak life into you. He's gonna make you feel your maximum potential. And and that's what a real relationship is, and it's vice versa with a Catholic woman. There's strength in it because it's balanced. You both respect one another, and you have each other's backs, and there's not this weird dynamic that just doesn't make sense where everybody's confused, you're arguing, you're misdirected, you're tripping over one another, you don't know how to do your roles properly. But anyways, I am dipping into a subject that is far down into my future. I'll have those talks down the line. But anyways, yeah, I just love God. Like, seriously, my chemical makeup, he has shifted and changed my heart and made me the man that I always wanted to be. Like, these male role models are gonna lead you to corruption, to destruction, to where it's all about competition, it's all about chasing. When you seek the kingdom, when you seek God, all things should be added unto you. Spiritually, financially, physically, all things shall be added unto you. So if you just want to chase paper, if you just want to chase these role models, okay, you're missing out on the spiritual side. Your soul is dead. You have no morals. You have no principles. You are spiritually dead. Go and chase your paper. Go down that road. But if you seek the kingdom, when you seek God, all things, money, you don't even have to chase it. It comes to you. You're deeply rooted in your purpose. You are who you're supposed to be, physically, emotionally, and you feel good because you're what a man should be. God-fearing man. You respect your mother. You respect your sister. You speak life into the people around you. You lift the people up. You're not a part of this wicked, disgusting world where people kick another down to rise up, spread rumors, talk trash. All these people want to do is take others out. That's how they're being raised up by this system. And from the outside looking in, it's really hard to believe what God can do for you, but he can seriously transform your life. He can transform your entire psyche. And I wouldn't even be in this position speaking like this. Like, look at my channel. Look throughout the whole thing. I have sinned. I have chased everything. I have done everything. I am the prime example, and that's why God is using me. It has all been documented that I have chased every external thing to fill that void, to fill up my soul, to fill up that freaking purpose, to try to find that purpose, and nothing has worked besides God. God has done wonders in my life. Right now, it's mentally, spiritually, just the way I operate and navigate through life without being corrupted or giving into this wickedness. It just feels right. It feels proper. What I believe to be a real man is a man who doesn't become overcome by wickedness, who can overcome the evil and spread good. A man with a backbone, a man who fights injustice, a man who lifts up his fellow man, a man who respects women, a man who respects his mom, a man who respects his parents. Although some days he may be overcome, he still chooses to do the right thing. A man who is for the community and not just a check, not just paper. A man who cannot become corrupted. A man who's not perverted in thought. A man who can control his lust. A man who's not enslaved by all these worldly temptations, desires. A man who can hold his frame and be a man. That is something that can only be accomplished by God. So a real man, in my eyes, is a man who is with God. I'm not saying you're not a real man if you're not, but your soul will be suffering. You will feel the bondage of not being with God. You will feel the chains wrapped around your soul. You will feel that hurt. And the further down you go, the more Satan will devour. What is Satan's job? Steal, kill, and destroy. So if you don't want to follow God and you want to go on the other side, so be it. There's two sides. And a lot of people don't want me to speak the truth because they're like, oh, now I heard the truth, so now I am held accountable of which side I'm going to choose, because there is a spiritual war that is going on that a lot of people just can't see. And it's for you to choose your side. If you want to go to the side that will destroy, devour, and kill your spirit, because a lot of people want to be their own gods. A lot of people want to go down that road because they want to do their own thing. They feel like these desires and these temptations and doing whatever I want and what I please is the route to go, because I'm not chained up and I'm not in bondage and I'm not, I'm actually free and God has all these restrictions. No, the reason God has these restrictions because those things, those temptations, those desires will kill your spirit. Let's just look at lust. You're watching porn, you're overly indulged in lust, you're looking at girls in a weird way, and you're falling down that route. Now, what kind of girl do you think you're going to bring into your life? Is it going to be some mental, spiritual connection where it's actually going to bring fulfillment to your life? Is it going to be the proper girl, or is it going to be a relationship that has suffering inside of it, arguments inside of it, divorces inside of it, an unequally yoked, destructive relationship that damages your soul? That's what it's going to bring. But that lust, it's so nice But what do you bring in? What do you attract when you give into that temptation, when you give into that desire? Absolute destruction, I am telling you. That's what Satan does. Flashes these things in your eyes like you want it, like you want the money, you want the Ferrari, but like you're just filling voids inside of yourself, and it will lead to destruction. And hopefully you find that out sooner than later. God is here to protect your soul. He puts up these restrictions, these limitations, these things you shouldn't do because it preserves your spirit. It gives your spirit, it feeds your spirit strength. And I know a lot of people just see it as words in the book, but when you truly abide by this and you constantly see God's heart, the more he will raise you up, the more strength you will have. And I'm literally sitting here and I'm telling you that God is the truth. I have a catalog of my life showing how I chased absolutely everything besides God. And guess what? I was feeling the same way that everybody else is feeling right now. There was a void that had to be filled. Money didn't fill that void. I actually wanted to off myself when I had the most money in my life. Crazy. Money doesn't fill that void. When I had the most money, when I had a house, a nice vehicle, a lot of money in the bank, that's when I wanted to off myself. That didn't fill the void. The females didn't fill the void. They brought stress, agony. A lot of them lied. That didn't fill the void. But I know what will fill the void. A strong woman with morals, with principles. Somebody who's going to be in my corner. That's going to be speaking life into me. Somebody who truly cares about me and my soul. That's much more appealing than what Satan has to offer. Satan is a manipulator. Satan gives you the knockoff alternative. Okay, we got love. What would you rather have, love or lust? One belongs to God, one belongs to Satan. You know deep down what you would rather have, and you will just chase lust until you get exhausted and your spirit is dead. But what would you truly want? Love. Somebody who truly cares for you, somebody who truly loves you, somebody who's speaking life in you, somebody who doesn't nitpick or tries to tear you down, somebody who is trying to build you up. That's the kind of person you want. Like a lot of society nowadays, they want to nitpick. They want to explain what's wrong with you. They want to kick you down. And that's all you're going to get from lust is those types of females. You're going to get bad fruit. But with love, with God, you're going to get the real thing. And that goes with everything that this world offers. If you feel like you want it because it's flashy and it's nice, it's just like lust, there's a lot of complication. There's a lot of afflictions that you will go through and you won't understand why. But with God, you will feel holiness. You will feel whole. And I wouldn't be sitting here backing God if that wasn't the truth. I wouldn't be putting my time into this if it wasn't the truth. You don't just back up a book. You don't back up chapters. You don't back up something if you don't believe in it. Like, why would I be here right now with my energy being like, yeah, God's the truth, if I didn't believe that? You can't just talk about something with conviction that you don't care about. It doesn't happen. That's why so many people preach the gospel, because it has done something in their life. It's definitely not going to happen overnight. God has to mold you. He has to make you that person over time, through trials, through tribulations, through going through the furnace. It's like a sword. You got to heat it up. You got to beat it down till it's sharp. You're going to have to be tested. You're going to have to go through these things that will change your heart, change your spirit. When you call to God and you are wicked and you're of this world and you have all these corrupting things inside of yourself, you're suffering, you're damaged. It's not going to be like, oh, God's here and he's going to change everything. No, you have to go through things to change your heart, to change your spirit. And it's not going to be easy. You got to be beaten down by God. Literally, how many trials and how many tribulations have I went through to become this person right here? I have been smacked down. When I was egotistical, God humbled me. I've been through a lot of wilderness seasons. That's why I'm humble. That's why I'm meek. That's why I got controlled power. And I'm slowly just becoming the man that God wants me to be. But just understand this message as time progresses, because if you're on the opposing side, you will be destroyed eventually. Like, it's only a matter of time. Keep chasing lust. Keep chasing the things of this world. Keep going down that route. And when you feel your soul being destroyed, know where to turn to next. And that's God.
I know it's been thousands of years and I've